Here we have the coolest amp on the planet. This is a clone of Marshall 1974 18 watt 112 combo. It has two EL84 power valves in it and ECC83, just 12EX7 usual preamp valves, and it's a really nice volume. I find that in a lot of gigs I can actually use this full up without really causing an awful lot of grief. I would say that in the loudest of gigs I have trouble having solos heard over a drummer, a loud drummer. If I'm playing with a big hitter, then I really need some of it back in a monitor, but that's, you know, depending on the gig, that's quite often not such a big deal. It's red, as you can see. It's got my name on it, and I'm so proud of this amp. It really is quite wonderful. I'm going to start by letting you hear some sort of cleaner sounds in it, because one thing I've found myself using it for is in recording in the studio, using it as a clean sound amp. Now, it'll only do this at lower volumes, but that doesn't really matter in the studio. You can compensate for whatever level you happen to be using with the amp, whether it's very loud or very quiet. This is fairly loud, but it's on about quarter volume here, and I'll let you hear what it's like. So it's a little bit furry actually. Let me just switch on to the neck pickup and take the level back a little bit. So okay, it's still a little bit furry, but when I use Fender guitars in the studio with it, I can get some nice clean sounds, and it records beautifully, this amp. Let me hear. I'll let you hear the tremolo on it now, which is really quite nice. It's a bias tremolo. And there'll be a nice thump, I guarantee you, as I flip the switch. There's actually a foot switch for this, but I've mislaid it. I couldn't find it before I came down to do this, so I'll just use the switch around the back. Okay, so I'm going to switch that tremolo off, because there we go, that's better. I'm going to switch the tremolo off now, and I'm going to switch channels to the normal channel, which is got a little bit more gain to it, and I really use it a lot. It's the one I use more. So here you go. These amps are a wee bit of a one-trick pony in that there's no real tone stack in them. There's just a tone control which is of a passive kind of nature. It just cuts really, and I don't really use it. I've been using these amps since I was 16 years old, and I've only ever used them with the tone full up. I don't think I've ever turned the tone down on them. I have to say that compared to the original 18 watters, this one has a much nicer sound. It has in the originals there's a kind of 2.5k spike in the sound, a real kind of quite harsh jangliness, which is great for cutting through in mixes. Really bugs bass players, and that appeals to me. And quite often when I was recording it, I found myself taking that sort of 2.53k spike down on the desk and warming the sound up a bit. This amp doesn't seem to have that flaw in the sound at all. It seems to be much warmer, much smoother, and much better for that, I think. This is, to all intents and purposes, a far nicer amp than the original 1974 that I owned for 27 years, and I'm so pleased with it, and it's got my name on it. Here we go. So as you can hear, it has a real nice rocking sound to it. You know, it's got a real kind of classic Marshall bark to it, which is great at that level. You're not having to withstand the kind of trouser flapping volume of a 50 watt or 100 watt head to get that tone, and it's very recordable. It's very portable. It's a light amp. The speaker in it, by the way, in this amp is a Weber Blue Dog, and does the job. It's quite like a greenback. I'll let you hear a little bit on the neck pickup. How about that? Did I mention it's got my name on it?